Surely is a first for the Garden Sessions, a Beatles song, even if it was in Gaelic. Julie Fowlis' take on the Beatles classic Blackbird, Londu, I believe it's pronounced as, and that's available as a download from our website at juliefowlis.com for a meagre 79 pence, folks. So once the show finishes, get yourself along, juliefowlis.com. It's worth it. It is a very good song, as you've just heard. Anyway, welcome to the Garden Sessions, gardensessions.co.uk, contact at podcast at gardensessions.co.uk, and we're also available at 98.8 in the Edinburgh area, Leith FM, where Leith lives. I'm Jack Foster, and joining me as ever are the fruit and fibre of the Scottish folk scene. Have we done fruit and fibre? I'm sure we've done that before.
No, we haven't done fruit and fibre.
I'm talking, of course, of Chris Silver and Dave the Angles Gimble. Frank's away for another week, still being a bard, and Silver joins us again.
Again?
Yes.
And again.
And happy he is to do so.
For episode 75.
I have to say, Blackbird is one of these songs that's never really grasped my attention as being particularly good, but that's a fantastic version. It really is.
It's lovely.
I love it.
It could almost make me want to listen to the Beatles.
Nothing like a bit of pontification from Dave. Silver, what is coming up on the show?
Well, on this show we have all the regular features: the Folky News, the official Garden Sessions download chart, Dave's Angles, the Letters Bag, and Tom's Folk Odyssey once again. The featured artist from David Francie, a wonderful, wonderful featured artist.
Yes.
And a chance to hear the options for this year's Listener's Choice.
Yeah, dancer.
Yeah, it's that time again.
Without wanting to bore listeners, I would say that this is the first show that Silver's actually realised that printed on the sheet in his hand is the list of what's coming up on the show. He hasn't realised this up to now. He's just been doing it from memory.
And failing miserably, which probably says something about...
I'd always wondered about that. But yes. Dave, got a hint for your angle?
I do. Probably better for you than the listeners as a hint, but we played this song almost exactly a year ago.
Well, okay, so you can find out that by just checking the website. That will give you the answer to that. It'll be Maeve McKinnon and the Diver Boy, probably. Yes, so that's what's coming up for the angle. That's exciting. It's my favourite bit of the show. I mean, it really is. And just Silver, you caught up with David Francie, and it's a packed show. Tom's Folk Odyssey as well. I believe he spoke to Emeralds and Greenstone this band that we've
yes,
heard a
I've
lot
heard
about
of that,
over the past.
And we played a song as well.
Well, we did.
Hero, which was very nice.
Well remembered, Dave. A bit of Maori there. Do you know what it means?
No idea.
Yeah, didn't think so. Okay. Earlier than normal, we've got tune time. So shall we crack on with that? This is Jamie Laval and Fiona's Waltz. Dave and I just had a wee waltz around the bothy. Silver just sort of cringed on the sidelines. But
Well, you had a moment.
indeed,
We did.
That was Jamie
We had a
Laval
moment.
and Fiona's waltz. Let's not dwell too long on the fictional waltz that we just had. It's almost time for the Folky News. A quick reminder, though, I think is probably in order of what's still to come on the show, Dave.
We've got Tom's Folk Odyssey with the Emeralds and Greenstone. We've got a fantastic
Looking forward to
featured
that.
artist. Silver met up with David Francie. We've got the Angle. We've got the Letters bag. We've got the Listener's Choice. Very exciting. We've got the Listener's Choice announced
Options for people to vote for.
2008.
I can't wait to hear what it is.
They're all fantastic.
And it's probably worth noting as well that within the featured artist there is an exclusive recording from David Francie's gig at Edinburgh Folk Club a couple of weeks ago. So it's a beast of a show, I think is probably worth saying. Silver!
It's news. It's folk.
What is it, Silver?
It's the Folky News. And the Folky News brought to you this week, as ever, in association with Paddy Bort's Wee Folk Club.
Well, every Sunday night at the Oak, we've got the Wee Folk Club at 8:30. An intimate venue, 30 seats, acoustic. It's a great night out. We've got fantastic musicians and singers. Every Sunday night, do come along.
And on Sunday the 23rd of November, it's Kate Bramley with songs from the tradition and originals with a transatlantic folk twist.
I'd like to point out, Silver, there was a call on the feedback forum for a bit more gusto during your news, so you really
Thanks
want to
for
bring
pointing
it
that out,
this
Dave.
week.
That aside,
That's
Dave, can I
onward.
just say,
You
I've
can get
seen...
more info on that at royal-folk.com.
Can I just say, I've seen Kate Bramley, in fact, at the Wee Folk Club a year or so ago. Very, very good show. Very good
You'll be
stuff.
going along then.
I will endeavour to make it, yes.
Anyway, gusto, Silver.
Right, top story. The annual Carrying Stream Festival was held last week by Edinburgh Folk Club, featuring performances by Archie Fisher, Margaret Bennett and Robin Lang. The festival celebrates the memory of Scottish folk music pioneer Hamish Henderson. The poet, songwriter, socialist, humanist and intellectual is revered by many as one of the most important figures in Scottish culture of the 20th century. He is a major catalyst for the Scottish folk revival. He is also the man who accepted the surrender of Italy on the 19th of April 1945, the author of Freedom Come All Ye, and founded, on top of all that, Edinburgh University's School of Scottish Studies. Dr. Fred Freeman read Hamish's poem So Long on the
Can't
2003 tribute album All the Bairns o' Adam.
To the war in Africa that's over, good night. To thousands of assorted vehicles in every stage of decomposition littering the desert from here to Tunis, good night. To thousands of guns and armoured fighting vehicles, brewed up, blackened and charred, from Alamein to here, from here to Tunis, good night. To thousands of crosses of every shape and pattern, alone or in little huddles under which the unlucky bastards lie, good night. Horseshoe curve of the bay, clean razor edge of the escarpment, tonight it's a sunset only that's blooding you. How fire and solemn, I think that at long last we can promise you a little quiet. So long, I hope I won't be seeing you. To the sodding desert, you know what you can do with yourself. To the African deadland, God help you, and good night.
Hamish Anderson, 1919-2002. The second story. Edinburgh University's Folk Song Society, founded of course by Hamish Anderson, celebrated its 50th anniversary last week with a special concert at St Bride's in Edinburgh featuring artists who have spanned the last 50 years as members of the society. Jack caught up with the society's current president, Bria Mason, and asked her what she felt the significance of the event was.
Edinburgh University Folk Society is one of the oldest folk clubs in Scotland, and it was quite instrumental in the folk revival actually back in the 50s and 60s, so we thought it would be a really good idea to get a lot of the old performers back in town and performing again to kind of see what it's been like across the eras.
And there's more than just the sort of your average intake of a folk song session that are along tonight. You tell us a bit about who's come along to play this evening.
Well, we have a lot of different performers. If you want to know all the names, you can check the website because I can't actually list them all off, which is too bad. But
It's because there's so many, though. It's because there's so many.
There's so many, which is actually quite important because we have gotten people who kind of span all 50 years, which is something I'm actually looking quite forward to seeing. I don't know what everyone's doing tonight, but it'll be quite interesting to see if the different eras focus on different types of folk song. I know that tunes have been a lot more common in recent eras.
Sorry, so before you continue with the news here, can I just say, it was a very good concert. I didn't catch all of it, but it was really nice. They kind of arranged it in segments of eras. They sort of did half an hour per era. I only caught a couple of eras, the 80s and the 90s, I think it was.
And
But
90s. Well,
Scott Gardner was holding court at the beginning. But
well, of course.
wonderful evening, wonderful evening. Good turnout.
And the Garden Sessions wishes Edinburgh University Folk Society a happy 50th birthday, and may they still be going strong in 50 years' time.
Indeed.
And you can keep up to date with all the latest folky news at gardensessions.co.uk/news. And that's the folky news.
The official Garden Sessions download chart. The official Garden Sessions download chart.
This is the official Garden Sessions download chart based on free downloads from gardensessions.co.uk.
Feels official.
At 10, it's a re-entry, Andy Chung in the Penny Falls. At 9, down 2, it's John Dignan in Diamonds. At 8, it's a re-entry from Alan Hunter in The Long Grey Line.
So you worked hard in a college room, career was I in mind. You ne'er got done the travelling round, you says the I was time. And you never gave yen moment's thought to what it means to be free. Not a thinker's time on the long grey line and the sights a thinker sees.
You spent any time on the Long Grey Line?
I've never spent any real amount of time on the Long Grey Line myself.
Oh well, let's move on.
At 7, it's Up 1, Sinead Connolly and Eileen Og. At 6, a re-entry, Frank Burkitt and Working Hands. At 5, it's the pride of Sheffield themselves, The Arrows and Steel Melter's Son.
Down the steel melter's son, I work here on my own. I keep the coal fires burning bright, hoping I will lead to my eye. Me and my father, we work as slaves, feel the death is counting our days, and I know we won't be free to rest until we breathe our last breath.
Ah, The Arrows.
Breathing their last breath all over the chart.
Well, they say that, but they're not.
They're not.
They're
no,
still
still
very much
alive and well.
breathing.
Yes.
And
at
melting
4,
steel.
it's another re-entry for The Arrows again, and Black is the Colour. At 3, down 1, Anna MacDonald, and You Held Out Your Hand. At 2,
hovering around the top spot.
a re-entry, Lords of the Buffy,
Good.
Jack and Tom,
Folks,
who will be
I
moving
don't-
later.
Somehow a former number one.
That's Lords of
But,
the Buffy and Rigs of the Time. And at 1, a fantastic number 1, a
Oh.
well beyond time number 1.
Who is it?
Up 5, Martin Boland and Practice to Deceive.
you dancer! I'm so pleased to hear that. Can I just say, because Martin Boland is one of the finest.
Stalwart of the Oak and
Yes.
the Garden Sessions and the Edinburgh folk scene, and he should have been number 1 a long time ago.
Superb.
and
Do you have an
thank
opinion,
God
Silver?
He is.
Oh, well, I agree.
We're of all expression, Do my eyes reveal the fear? Does my immaculate discretion evaporate when you draw near? Borrowed moments, stolen glances across a crowded, smoke-filled bar, taking liberties and chances. Do you never feel we are taking things a step too far? A half-remembered verse from childhood. What we sow we then receive. Is there a place reserved in heaven for those who practice to deceive? Is there a place reserved in heaven for those who practice to deceive? I'd whispered conversations, caresses snatched where none can see. I wonder, would this food forbidden taste so sweet if it were free? You alone hear my confession. There's now no answer from above. It seems to lie is my obsession. Truth's the first casualty of love, the first casualty of love. A half-remembered verse from childhood. What we sow we then receive. Is there a place reserved in heaven for those who practice to deceive? A half-remembered verse from childhood. What we sow we then receive. Is there a place reserved in heaven for those who practice to deceive? There is no place reserved in heaven for those who practice to deceive.
The official Garden Sessions #1 from his album Dreams in Blue. That was Martin Boland and Practice to Deceive, and not before time. Can I
well
just
behind
say?
time, I would say. Well
yes,
behind.
but we're well behind time also with the show.
Funny that.
So we need to move on quite swiftly to what's coming up next. Now, Dave, you gave us a hint for the angle, but we all know it's Maeve McKinnon and the Diver Boy from her debut album Don't Sing Love Songs. Shall we just crack into it?
Why not? You've ruined the suspense already.
You've got to wait till I switch the mic off.
Emily was fair lady bride, she loved her diver boy, who sailed over the ocean to gather up some gold. 7 long years returning his money for to show. He'd been sailing over the main, down in the lowland. Father runs a big hotel down by the riverside. You go there, go for to stay, and I shall be your bride. Meet me early morning, don't let my parents know. You've been the diver boy down in the lowland. Henry taking a drink that night before he went to bed, not thinking of the danger that crowned over his head. Edward said to his father, let's take his money, sure, her true love's blood go flowing down the stream. Waking early morning to parents she did say, where could be that stranger boy who came here for to stay? Of my end. Oh brother, you have murdered the one that I love best. The trees on yonder mountain are bending to and fro to remind me of my diver boy, telling me
From her debut album, Don't Sing Love Songs, that's Maeve McKinnon and the Diver Boy, and that is Dave's angle for this particular week. It is my favourite part of the show. Silver, is it yours? If you had to rank it somewhere in the show?
It's one of many.
One of many favourites.
One of many favourites. You could. I don't know if you could describe the amount of features we have as many, but
well,
that's it.
That's yeah.
Dave, what's your angle? Can I just stop for a second and just remind listeners what the angle is? Because for anyone who doesn't know what the angle is, Dave will now describe in his own words the story within that song. And he's very good at telling a tale. He can spin a yarn.
Yes.
Seem a bit unsure.
You built it up now.
Sorry,
I'm all
about,
self-conscious.
Sorry about that.
This young
Building
girl,
up
Emily, has this beau who is a diver, a sailor, and he goes off and he goes to all these exotic places to go and do diving type work. And he
wait, what?
Exploring.
This
wrecks.
is Emily's man.
Yeah, he explores wrecks
diver
for possible cultivation of man-made coral reefs.
Okay.
And he turns around and says, like, I'm going away for 7 years. It's a long time, I know, but I'll be back in 7 years and I'll have.
It's one of these, is it? It's one of these.
I'll have loads of cash.
Does he come back wearing a hat, pretending to be someone else?
No, he doesn't. He doesn't. He comes back 7 years later, and he's got all his money in his pocket because he's been away doing this 7 year long job, and he's made loads of cash doing it. And he says, "Right, I'm here. Let's get together." And
is it a Broken Token song?
Emily says, "Well, hold on a second. My father, he's got this hotel.
You're just ignoring
what
me,
you want to do is
I'm asking you questions.
I'm not.
Is it a Broken Token song?
You're interrupting the flow. We haven't got much time. Let's get on with it, Jack. Come on now. Think sensibly."
Right. Well, I apologize.
She says,
"Do I not get an answer? Is it a Broken Token song?"
No, it's not a Broken Token song.
Fine.
She says to him, "My father's got this hotel. Come and stay in the hotel." I mean, they don't know you. Funnily
Are you
enough,
accusing him of paraphrasing lyrics, Silver?
They don't know. My parents don't know you. You don't know them. You'll just be a guest in the hotel. They won't know that we're planning on getting married. And if you stay in the hotel, we'll get married in secret.
I'd mention it.
Why would she say, like, come and stay in my father's hotel, and we'll get married in secret?
I don't know. Maybe the diver is base born, and her father is some kind of laird who runs this hotel.
Why would she stay in the father's hotel? Where's your research, Dave? Bit thin on the ground.
I never do any research. Good God, Jack! What do you think I am? A book machine? Anyway,
it's supposed to be your expertise, Dave.
She says, "Come out in the morning. We'll meet really early. We'll get married. It'll be fine." So Henry goes to sleep that night in the hotel. He has a few whiskies before he goes to bed, and he thinks the father and brother, they don't know anything about this. It's fine. I can just sleep in peace. And the father and brother actually have worked out what's going on here, and they say, "You know what? We've got to get rid of this guy. He's no good. We've got to stop him marrying Emily."
Right?
Why do they think that?
Because I don't know.
They're overprotective of their sister.
They're overprotective.
Don't trust. Is that the moral? Is the moral don't trust divers?
No. So they take him out at night and they take him down to the river and they drown him in the river, which is a strange fate for a diver to die of, drowning. But there you go.
I think he would be sort of one ahead of them on that.
Emily
would be able to somehow
you'd
survive
think so.
such
You'd think so. But Emily, meanwhile, is having this
particularly good as
crazy preemptive dream. And she wakes up all of a sudden.
A bit like the Dowie Dens of Yarrow, in a way.
A bit like
there's a dream in that.
She turns to her father and mother and says, "Well, where's the boy who was staying in this hotel?" Just out of curiosity, where he's disappeared. And they
10 seconds, Dave.
And
moral and all as well.
And she
What's the
works
moral?
out what's happened, and all of a sudden she turns to her father and brother and says, well, you've robbed me of my love. What's going on here?
What's the moral?
The moral is, if you want to marry in secret, don't have your boyfriend stay in your father's house.
Oh, God, no, it isn't. That is not the moral at all.
Well,
it's... I don't know what it is. I wasn't listening. Sorry, is that your angle?
It is.
Garden Sessions Letters
I was expecting another jingle there, but
never
I
let
suppose
it be said
that'll
that
the angle is
getting
finished.
shoddy.
It is finished. I've got the first letter for a change. Sorry, a wire just fell over. I don't know what happened. Dear Garden Sessions, first let me say it's great to see young people taking on the task of promoting great music. I especially liked the Hayley Beavis feature. I helped to run a folk club in my local, and it has amazed me over the last 2 or 3 years that even though we have the same style of music and many of the same acts as we have since the 90s, the audiences are getting younger. How much do you think audiences are connecting with true traditional music, and how much of it is down to young, in inverted commas, gateway acts like Laurie Watson, etc., opening up folk to a young audience? That's from Graham in Dartmoor. First of all, I would say I don't think Laurie Watson is a gateway act. She's young, but
I think the point is that
there's nothing.
Young people doing music are more engaging to young people than old people, like your Archie Fishers or Dick Gawkins, that people aren't going to necessarily identify.
Age
with.
is not an issue, I don't think, with regards to music. I'll listen to something if I think it's good, and that will be that. Laurie Watson is not a gateway.
Anyway, that's not the question.
I don't know what a gateway act is supposed to be, but I would say that I presume something which is saying that it crosses over into a slightly more modern approach to folk music, which I would say Lau would probably fall under that category, but I don't think Laurie Watson would.
But
she's just young.
With regard to the actual question itself, I mean, I personally, I would say that
there was a question.
I think that the
David
overriding
Dimbleby
themes of folk are quite enduring and are quite identifiable with young people and old people. So I think young people are just realising that folk music isn't
It's
necessarily
not question time. You're not going to get a round of applause, Dave.
Fine, I won't answer the question then if we're not going to respond.
Silver, the gentleman in the grey jumper there with the sort of lighter grey lapels.
Yes. I can see what you're saying. I think the fact is I think perhaps what he's getting at is the fact that there has been lots of there's a lot more funding and money going into traditional music these days. People can go and study it for the when back in the sort of 60s and so on they couldn't, and I think I agree with what he's saying, that yes, it's great that there's lots of young people there, and I agree with Dave as well, actually. There's
that's
sort of
nice.
young
change.
Young people. No, I agree with you lots, Dave. And
young people are. It's nice that young people are
right.
Yes.
Well. I mean, that's all delightful to know. But I think there's a yes. So what is there a moral to that? It's not the angle. Who cares? Right. It's a lovely letter. Sorry. Yes. No. And it's true. Yes. Young people get into folk music, but they always do. Otherwise, it wouldn't be the most enduring genre that exists. Silver, I think you've got, or is it Dave? One of you has a quite short letter.
I'll do it. It's from Beth in Skye, and
hello, Beth.
Beth says, laughed out loud at the October Folk Odyssey blog. You're a good writer, Tom, my friend. So it's sort of shout out to Tom. And the blogs are.
I laughed out loud too. But on that note, it's time for Tom's Folk Odyssey, which is quite exciting. It just is quite exciting.
Tom's Folk Odyssey. He's across the world. It has come. He has pressed record.
Welcome back to Tom's Folk Odyssey. I'm in the Harbour Lights Theatre in Littleton near Christchurch, and I'm joined by Laura Tomlin of the fantastic band Emeralds and Greenstone, who have just finished their gig here. Laura, welcome to the Garden Sessions.
Thank you so much, Tom.
Now, congratulations on a brilliant gig. Tell us how you think it went.
We're feeling pretty buoyant at the moment. It was lots of fun and just absolute pleasure to bring a whole lot of old stuff back from the 60s and the wartime. Yeah,
And
it was brilliant.
a good turnout as well.
Yeah, it was really cool.
Now, one of your band's mission statements, I suppose, is to try and merge...
Our kaupapa, that's the Maori word for purpose. So
okay.
Our kaupapa,
Your kaupapa is to merge the Maori and the Celtic music together. I counted about 8 or 9 different instruments on the stage there during the time I was sitting here. Like, how do you try and do that, merge these two quite distinct blends of music?
Well, I think we find the songs first, something that resonates with all of us, and then the arrangement tends to evolve, and we can just hear all these sounds in the background in our heads, so we're kind of like, oh, ukulele would be great there, or this keyboard bass line, or John will just doodle around on the guitar, be like, oh, that's the line.
And tell me what that instrument was. I didn't even know the name of it. It was like a string with a piece of greenstone that was sort of rotating on it. What's the name of that instrument?
It's called the porotiti. And it sort of sounds like the wind in the trees or something.
Made like a whirring, humming kind of...
A whirring kind of like...
Very relaxing, very
yeah.
Nice. What's next for Emeralds and Greenstone? Tell us what's next on the cards.
Okay, well, coming up at the beginning of December, we're going to release our album that we've been working on. It's a bit of a retrospective snapshot of what we've been doing so far. So that's 9 tracks of our favourite pieces, including probably about half original material and half traditional folk songs traditional songs from the Celtic tradition as well as the Maori tradition. And sometimes we do things like we'll combine a Maori chant with some Scots Gaelic mouth music, and
those were amazing.
And we put the bowron in behind Maori chants as well, so that's again the Maori and the Celtic. And Ariana Tekau, who's our other lead singer, she and I, we always share the vocals, and nearly always in most of our songs. Yeah.
So how can people contact Emeralds and Greenstone if they want to find out a bit more and they like what they hear?
If they Google Emeralds and Greenstone, they'll come up with our MySpace, and there's some songs there that people can listen to, and stories and pictures and stuff.
Okay, well, thanks very much for joining us, Laura, and Arjun, who just joined us later on. Enjoy the music you're about to hear, because it was really good, and we'll kick into some of that now, some of the concert there.
Tom's Folk Odyssey. He's across the world. It has come. He has pressed record.
If there ever was a siren to rescue New Zealand's awful folk scene, it'd be that one.
That's quite a judgment to make on New Zealand's folk scene there, Silver.
Well,
we're about to go to our
last-
featured artist this week. Dave, you said you could tell me a joke during that. We were listening to it, but I mean, I've heard it before. Dave told us a joke. It was very funny.
I did
Tell it
say
again.
that I'd tell the joke
For a
if Jack
family
could work
audience.
it into the show. I didn't expect some kind of
That's the best I can do.
segue into
Quickly.
the- Right,
You don't get this
there's
in
two
travelling,
monkeys
folks, do
sitting
you?
in the
No.
bath. There's two monkeys sitting in the bath, and the first monkey turns to the second and says, "Oh, and the second monkey turns round and says, "Well, put some cold in then."
It's time.
That's how you waste 30 seconds.
It's time
there.
for our featured artist this week, which is a real treat for you listeners. It's David Francie.
You meet some amazing people, even working in construction. And I met the fellow that's the centre part of this next song at his farm, actually, in Peterborough County, Ontario. And he'd always wanted to be a farmer. His name's Roy McGregor. And he always wanted to be a farmer, and he knew that from birth, you know. So as soon as he could quit high school, he did. He's an amazingly sharp guy. He went straight into farming, and his mum and dad had a big dairy farm, huge thing. And so he ended up taking it over, working with them, and eventually taking it over. And he married a girl from just down the road, another farm girl, and she had 3 kids by him. And there we were, you know, and they were all set up as happy as a couple could be, with a nice big dairy farm and a good future looking in front of them. And Roy said he came in from the fields one day, and he got into his house, and his house was all but empty. The only thing left was a table that didn't fit in the truck, and a piano that nobody wanted. His wife was just up and gone, right out of the blue, took the 3 kids and all the furniture. And he's a lovely, lovely man. I said, "Well, how are you doing there, Roy?" And he says, "Never been so low, David. Just got laid as low as I could possibly get laid." In Peterborough County, there's a village in a valley. Me, I have a farm at the top of the hill. You can have your city streets and your backyards and your alleys. Me, I have these green fields and I always will. And I'm married out of high school to a girl I knew forever. And we settled in together, and 3 children came. And the life that we were living was forgive and be forgiven. But whenever I saw sunshine, she could only see rain. Left me standing in the cornfields with the dry land all around me. And I felt myself sinking like the setting sun. And the sky was like the ocean pouring down around me. I used to be so proud, I was all undone. So I kept on working my land, and I held on with both hands. And I watched the seasons turning in the sky above. And I worked beside my father, and we bent our backs together. And I wondered, would I ever find someone to love? But when I was good and ready, when I stood up strong and steady, love came with the letters in the morning mail. And I knew that I'd found her when I put my arms around her. When I see her now in the morning, how that sunrise pales, leaves me standing in the cornfields with the dry land all around me. And I feel myself rising with the morning sun. And the sky is like the ocean, white and blue and rolling. And I know that in my own heart she's the only one. In Peterborough County there's a village and a valley. Me, I have a farm at the top of the hill. You can have your city streets and your backyards and your alleys. Me, I have these green fields and always will.
Well, I'm joined now by ex-chain-smoking construction worker David Francie, one of the greatest songwriters that Canada has yet produced. David, welcome to the Garden Sessions.
Thanks so much, Chris. Nice to be here.
Many of the songs that you write are about sort of real experiences in real life, and are actually written, as you pointed out, as they're actually happening, as the experience is actually happening. I mean, I don't want to sort of go into like the intricate details of why you write songs. That's the worst thing to do to any songwriter. But I mean, how do you find that approach?
It's probably comes right out of the style I write in, Chris, more than anything else. I'm one of those people that doesn't use an instrument to write. I mean, I write in my head. I write the whole song in my head long before it ever touches an instrument. So I'm very lucky. I get blessed with the lyric and the melody at the same time. So if I see something that moves me, or hear something on the radio that moves me, political or otherwise, I just start writing, or I start singing about it, and the words just come, and I'll work on that all day. When I was a carpenter and a labourer in construction, I used to just work all day on them, because every job I was doing by rote, and I had lots of free time in my mind to do stuff, and I used to just write all day, man. I'd get an idea in the morning, and I'd work on it all day, and I'd come home, and the song would be done. And some of them don't come quite that quickly, but it's a question of just being able to do that. It means you can write anywhere at any time, and I think that's a bit of a blessing in this business.
Well, I mean, many of your songs have been embraced by the Scottish folk scene as well, and they've been covered by lots of artists. As a sort of Scot in exile, how does that feel?
Well, that's probably the best thing that's happened, really, to tell you the truth. And I mean, I wrote songs for myself. I never expected to be singing them myself, let alone anybody else singing them. I just wrote them because they had to come out. And something in me made me write them. But once they were done, I just on to the next one. I never thought about it. But when I put the albums out, they got embraced over here to the extent that I couldn't even imagine. Mostly through Corinne Polwart and Steve Barn-Malinky and those guys, Chris Drever. I mean, they just they've taken the songs, put this beautiful spin on all of them, and they do the songs, and then people get interested in what I'm doing. And so as far as what it could mean to me, it's really the finest tribute anybody could do is to cover your music, and to cover them so well is just an absolute bonus. And
it's a great deal. All of your songs, they have a great deal of honesty, and the way you introduce them is very much sort of you're very open about the subject matter and all of that.
It's just the songs are personal, so I know exactly why I wrote them and where I wrote them and when I wrote them and who I wrote them about, and usually I have a fairly self-deprecating view of myself, and I don't put any huge outrageous value in what I do. I just do what I do, and I know it's pretty personal, all right, but I don't know how to write otherwise. It's pretty hard for me to write an impersonal song. I have to be moved to write, for starters, and if it's politics, well, that's a personal view of politics, isn't it? And if it's love, it's a personal view of love, and so that's why those songs evolved the way they did, and that's why the stories came out the way they did. So.
Well, David, on that note, it's been a pleasure. Thank you very much for joining us.
Absolutely my pleasure, Chris. I wish you all the best, and thanks so much for your interest. I really appreciate it.
Met Jesus in the morning, he was waiting for a train. He said he thought it might be time to come down and explain how wrong it was to do some things and do them in his name. He said, after all, everybody's riding on this train. Met Buddha on the subway underground. Saw his smile slowly fade and I saw him look around. He said he wished we'd understand and do so in his name. He said, after all, everybody's riding on this train. Met Al on the L train above the city streets. We rattled down the railway line and looked down on the meek. He said he wondered why it was some never feel the pain. He said, after all, everybody's riding on this train. I saw the devil standing at the station in the rain. He had a smile upon his face, self-satisfied and vain. Said heaven is its own reward, I don't have to explain. Said after all, everybody's riding on this train.
This week's featured artist on the Garden Sessions, David Francie. You are listening to the Garden Sessions. Gardensessions.co.uk. Contacts at podcast@gardensessions.co.uk. Silver, that was a lovely featured artist, can I just say?
Very good.
It was very good. Apologies about Dave's joke about the monkeys beforehand.
It was your insistence.
It was funny.
Work.
It was quite funny. You say it's my work, but it was Dave's.
It was your work. You made me say it on the show.
Yes, but I didn't say it.
Anyway, fantastic featured artist. Back to the point in hand.
It was indeed. Well, before we go this week, we are going to give you this year's picks for the Listener's Choice 2008.
Which you can vote for.
You'll be able to vote for on the website. It will go up on the website at some point over the coming week, just as the body shop and all that kind of thing gets updated. It will go up very soon, and you will be able to vote on your favourite song of 2008 from the Garden Sessions.
Can I stick my oar in early and say that I am casting my vote for the Paul McKenna Band?
Okay, so you know the Paul McKenna Band's in there somewhere.
You're not allowed to vote.
You're not allowed to vote.
You're not a listener.
Fine.
You're a presenter.
I will tell everyone I know.
It's not the presenter's choice
Paul McKenna Band.
because you get a presenter's choice on the New Year's show, which is when it will be announced. Anyway, here are your options. Beginning with Karine Polwart's "Dig a Well for Zoe."
Dig a little well for Zoe. Dig a little well so deep. Dig it where the gods who bless these waters, they never.
Fotheringay, Eppie Murray.
Chris Drever, Roddy Womble and John McCusker, Poorest Company.
The Paul McKenna Band live at the Garden Sessions birthday concert with Lochte Boat Song.
Be they inland white, brown or gold, be they blacker than the slow.
Mark Dunlop, the Three Huntsmen.
I'll sing you all three huntsmen, brave as plain as you may hear. Wilson, Gilmore, Johnson, remark these words I say.
Hannah Reid and Verena Edenberger, Bonnie at Morn.
The sheep are in the meadow, and the kine and the corn. These hours I eat in my bed, Bonnie at Morn.
The Chair, Beef.
The Arrows, Steel Melter's Son.
I'm a steel melter's son. I work here on my own. I keep the coal fires burning.
Roscoe Galloway, The Willow Tree.
Frank Burkitt, Working Hands.
At that point the boy looked down and he saw the mud on his shoes, and he felt the pain that for the rest of his days he'd be labouring away his blues.
Carolyn, I Fiona Scott, Old Tea Stains.
Scared she'd never be more than the sum of her parts.
Finlay Napier and the Barroom Mountaineers, George.
Friday and Saturday night for George is all about fighting.
Anna MacDonald, you held out your hand.
Held out your hand to me and I took it willingly. Traveller on the road.
Kate Rusby, who knows where the time goes?
Across the evening sky, all the birds are leaving. But how do they know it's time for them to go?
Scott Gardner, Breamy's Bonnie Dochter.
And Breamy's bonny dochter, what I ever saw. Geordie Wilson's bonny Maggie, she stole my heart away.
Martin Simpson, Bachelor Song.
I wish I were a poet and could write a fine hand. I would write you a letter that you'd understand. I wish I could spend just 10 minutes with you. I wish I'd stop wishing for what I can't do.
Emily Smith, Caledonia.
Saying, tap this cup of water, though the liquor be but small, and drink your lassie's health, Caledonia.
Nick Kieran, here's to you.
Here's to you and all your dreams. I hope the lights will always find you, and after all, when day is done, I hope you'll find your way home.
Chris Drever and Heidi Talbot in Love and Light.
The blackest crow that ever flew would surely turn to white if ever I prove false to you. Bright day would turn to night.
The Old Blind Dogs, Star of the Bar.
No better than most, and no worse as many, and what drew me to her's no easy say.
Hayley Beavis and all.
Tie me down so I can cut loose and be my own savior. Time and again with my back against the wall.
And last year's listener's choice, Lucy Pringle with Chris Wright at this year's Garden Sessions birthday concert, Halloween.
There's drink and duff and song and dance, and poison kisses get their chance. But Lachlan, man, the place I see is where the old kiss used to be, and the lake's so Halloween in France.
And I think you would agree, what a year for folk music. What a year!
It's been very, very good.
It has.
I think I might have changed my mind.
That's the joy of the clips. But you have to keep quiet about what you want to be your favourite, Dave, because that's supposed to be a surprise for the New Year's episode. Anyway, yes. So, and if you want to make your choice on the listener's choice for 2008, which will be announced, the winner will be announced and played on the New Year's special, along with all the other best bits of the year. We'd like to have a free phone sort of number that you could call, but we don't. So you go to gardensessions.co.uk, and it will be very obvious when you go to the website where you go
Alas,
to vote.
as well, this new year there'll be no handball report.
But there wasn't one last year.
Yes, there was.
No, there wasn't. That was 2 years ago, Dave.
Was it?
Time flies when you're listening to folk.
Dave.
That was 2000 and... New Year 2000 and... No, it wasn't. It was New Year 2007.
No, you're right. It was 6. I do apologise.
It can't have been. We didn't start in 2005. That doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, no, it must have been 7.
We will work this out.
We will.
Thank God.
If any of the listeners know when it was, then...
Well, we can work it out, surely. I mean, it can't be more than 2 years.
Yeah,
it must be exactly 2 years. If this is New Year 2008, then it must be New Year 2000. Yeah, because this is New Year 2009.
Oh,
yes, it was New Year 2007.
Yeah.
Yes, right. So that makes perfect
sense.
Sorry,
we've got
anyway, it's the end of the show. Episode 75 feels like episode 7005. And Silver's very tired and he's going to go and sleep, I think, soon.
Yes, yes.
For 2 weeks, and
No,
then he's up
the
again,
New
fresh
Year
as a
issue
daisy,
has
to
been
do the
resolved.
Garden Sessions episode 76.
2 weeks to get some sleep in, Silver. You can manage it this time, surely. 2 weeks and he couldn't manage to get sleep in.
Yeah,
Unbelievable.
good God.
Anyway, but yes, on our next week's show we will have all of the usual features. Silver? Quickly, very quickly.
Download chart, letters bag,
Fucking news,
and
Dave's
all
angle.
you know them.
Tom's Folk Odyssey. It's all happening. Anyway, yes, till next time, from myself, Jack Foster, Chris Silver, Dave the Angles Gimble, take it easy.
Good night.
Cheerio.
Mm-hmm.